What's up? What's up, my Mind Your Money business folks? It's me yet again with another video on today's stock market news. And as always, hopefully you're in the market and not trying to time the market because that is simply impossible to do. And as always, hopefully you guys are not straddling the fence and thinking about investing, and hopefully you are investing in paper assets like stocks that are appreciating over time, or you're investing in yourself that's also appreciating or should be appreciating with knowledge, and what needs to be done in order to improve your financial health and stability. So let's get into what happened today in the market. It says that Dow S&P 500 closed at record highs to cap Wall Street's latest winning week. So it says here, U.S. stocks capped a winning week on Friday as Wall Street fixated on the promise of artificial intelligence, even as a government shutdown delayed the release of the monthly jobs report. The Dow topped 47,000 before paring gains, but still closed up 0.5% at fresh all-time highs. The benchmark S&P 500 rose just above the flat line, eking out a new record. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite erased earlier gains to fall 0.3% as Tesla stock sank. So what happened to Tesla? So either way, all three major averages closed out the week with gains of more than 1%. And that is true. Even though the market did not do too well, it didn't do too well today, Friday. Now that I'm looking, yeah, there were some losses. But for the week, it did very well. Very, very well. So Wall Street has largely shrugged off the initial stages of the U.S. government shutdown. Its impact was felt in investor circles Friday as it delayed the release of the data, leaving Wall Street and the Federal Reserve in the dark. In its absence, Wall Street has turned to a bevy of private data that has confirmed the labor market's sharp slowdown this week. But even amid the unanswered questions on the health of the U.S. economy, stocks keep rising to new records, largely on the back of continued AI favor. OpenAI valuation climbed to $500 billion, making the company the most valuable startup in the world. On Friday, OpenAI deals boosted optimism. Hitachi Ltd. teamed up with OpenAI on energy projects while Fujitsu expanded work with NVIDIA. Other sectors also continue standout performances, most notably pharma stocks, which by one measure were headed toward their best week in over a decade. Meanwhile, there was no immediate end in sight to the shutdown. Democrats continue to push for the continuation of healthcare subsidies as a condition of funding the government, while Republicans refuse to negotiate on the issue until the government is back up and running. At the same time, President Trump has continued to ramp up his threats to fire federal workers and defund projects in Democratic-leaning states. Man, that's it. Oh, Bitcoin moved above $122,000 per token. It says here, Netflix stocks on track to end the week down 5% as Elon Musk calls for users to cancel subscriptions. That's funny. Wow, Elon Musk wants people to boycott Netflix. Yeah, this whole technology thing, even though artificial intelligence is the next boom, or it's the next industrial revolution, a part of it, or mostly of it. You know what I mean, right? It's a bit scary too because it's technology. It's not humans that. It's like, what were those Arnold Schwarzenegger movies? The Terminator, back in the what, maybe the 90s, the early 90s, when the Terminator would come out, those movies, and it robots, and then they were operating on their own. Oh, exciting but scary at the same time. The future is, in my opinion. So hopefully you guys are investing, because to me, things are going to, as technology takes over, it's going to dwindle a lot of opportunities, even jobs. So if you're not investing, yeah, the future's uncertain. I mean, if the future was uncertain for a lot of people in the past who were not investing and who passed away without life insurance, and it left families in ruin and unable to do a lot of things. I could see it getting worse in the future because prices are continuing to go up on goods and services. Invest, people. That's all I can say. Invest into yourselves, invest into the stock market, invest into appreciating assets, because I can see it getting harder and harder to do in the future by the majority of people. And right now, the majority of people cannot invest because they're in debt. A lot of people are in debt, or they don't have the resources to invest. Yeah, so think about that. So let's see what happened with some stocks today. SPLG, the S&P 500 ETF, actually made 1 cent today. Refresh. Yeah, it made 1 cent today, closing out at $78.73. That's interesting. Broadcom gained 19 cents today, closing out at $338.37. Meta lost $16.49 today, closing out at $710.56. Palantir lost $13.98 today, closing out at $173.03. No, $173.07. Nothing seems to have happened. I think people, well, not think, people took profits. You know, stocks are at an all-time high right now, so they took profit. You know, Tesla lost $6.17 today, closing out at $429.83. Nvidia lost $1.32 today, closing out at $187.62. FTEC, Information Technology ETF, lost 66 cents today, closing out at $224.99. So yeah, there were some losses today, but I believe investors took money off the table because stocks were at an all-time high. So yeah. But like I was stating before, you need to invest. And a lot of people cannot invest because they're in debt. And the only way that you can get out of debt is via a plan. Create a plan to get out of debt. And that plan is called a budget, where you can start telling your money where to go each month, so you can stop trying to figure out where it all went before the month ends, right? You need to create a budget, people. Create a budget. You need to also start living below your means. Right now, there are a lot of opportunities in the United States that are not anywhere in the world where you can make a lot of money. But it seems like a lot of people in America make a lot of money, but they also spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money on things they do not get a return on. They spend a lot of money on depreciating assets. They spend a lot of money on things that they could do at home, like make your own coffee, cook your own food. You know, they buy cars. Like, I hear stories. I literally hear people talk about owning a $30,000 car when they make $60,000 a year. So you bought a car that's half of your yearly salary, and you're paying $800 to $1,000 a month on. You know, you have to pay taxes out of that money. You have to pay for health care. You have to pay for vision. You have to pay insurance. You know, by the time you have to put money in your investments, or you should be putting money in your investments, and you're wondering why you don't have enough money left over, because you also have to pay insurance on that car. You have to put gas in that car. If you have kids, you got to take care of them, and you're wondering why you're living paycheck to paycheck. We're not living smartly. And I understand why you're not living smartly, because every other minute when you watch so much television, or even when you're strolling on social media, something's being sold to you. It could be food, clothes, trips, cars, houses. It's like you're not going to be happy unless you're driving this car, or you're eating this meal, and you're living in this home, you're traveling to this destination. But before you can travel to any of these places, you need to get this Green One credit card where you can get all these points from by simply using it to go on your travel, and you create all this debt. So yeah, it's no one's fault but your own, because at the end of the day, you're making the decision to go into debt to do these things that are harming you in the long run. So yeah, so I'm going to end this video. I'm not going to talk too much. So like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Let me know what you think. If you think anything at all. Oh, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I pretending to be one. So any and all information on my channel and in my videos are for informational purposes only, right? Entertainment as well. So please consult with a financial advisor before you invest any of your money. But I will say this, all the stocks that I spoke of today, if you were investing into them, my portfolio is up over 40% this year with those stocks. You know, so I have made a 40% profit. You know, so let's just say if you had invested, say $1,000 in all of those stocks, right? You know, at the beginning of the year to date, you should have made, let's say $400. If you had invested $5,000, you should have made $2,000. And that's a lot of money, because you're not going to get those type of returns by allowing your money to sit in the banks, right? Or even to sit in that the high yield savings account, right? I mean, it's good. Your high yield savings account is where you should sit your 3 to 6 months of living expenses, your emergency fund in. But having all of your money just sit in the bank and not invest any of it, or not to invest at all, is not a smart decision. It's not smart. All right, so I'm going to end this video. All right, so you guys take care. Have a blessed weekend. Peace.